five senses that you are given are like horses, okay? And then the buddhi that you have is like the charioteer. Okay? So you have come on this universe and you need to figure out where do you need to go. Okay? Because if you have no idea, if the charioteer has no idea as to where am I going, then the whole show will be run by what? The horses. The horses will go here and the horses will go there. And this is why if you have no ultimate purpose in your life, then what happens is the senses run the show. You are given eyes and you are given infinite forms. And you can choose whichever form that you want to connect to based on your preferences. But the possibilities are limitless. Okay? You have ears and you have sounds. And even within that, the possibilities are limitless. You have sense of taste and then you have foods. And the possibilities are limitless, right? So that means that if you have no goal in life, then what happens is the senses have billions of fancies. And the whole life will go in fulfilling one fancy, but by the time it is fulfilled, something else surfaces, then you fulfill that, and then it just one day you have to leave. So that doesn't make sense. Okay? It is good, it is not that the horses have to be deprived, but they have to be guided to the final destination. Okay? So according to the Upanishads, human birth is for discovering the fact that I am limitless. That is what we call moksha. Okay? So therefore, it's not sufficient to say I am not body and mind. You have to use this asset which is given to you, okay, to take you to this moksha. Because it's not as easy as it seems. Imagine, if somebody, yesterday I had a class, and up to now I have been talking about Vedanta, and they all thought, oh wow, they understand really well. Okay? Then because there is a verse in Gita which talks about other philosophies, okay, which still fall within Indian philosophy, but they are this is what we call Vedanta Shastra. There are yoga, there is Sankhya philosophy, there is Vaisheshika, there is Nayayika. So when I started talking about those philosophies and their vision, okay, they are all looking into Vedas, but they all have different interpretations about what Veda is talking about. So then I introduced how they are arguing with each other, how they are discussing with each other, trying to refute each other's point of view through discussions and logic. Okay? So when I introduced that whole thing, all of a sudden everybody felt, oh my God, they haven't, what they thought they had understood really well. If you have another contention which has a world view which is different from yours, you don't know how to enter into a discussion and refute what they are saying. So that means your own clarity is not sufficient. Okay? So therefore, it is not just a simplistic kind of a thing that, oh, you are awareness and you have no boundaries and just feel it, and it's not like that. Okay? It's a highly analytical process for you to arrive at this reality, and also you can enter into an argument with a physicist, with a neuroscientist, with a psychologist, and what you say is not shaken. This is what we call knowledge. Okay? It's not some kind of a loose make-believe kind of a thing that you feel connected to and try to feel good about yourself. So therefore, that clarity, it takes time. Okay? And for that clarity, you need to prepare yourself. Okay? So what is the preparation that is needed? So this is where all the values, because what happens is that when up to now we have lived a life not as one limitless entity but as one tiny little individual. Okay? Now that tiny little individual thinks that I'm only this much and everything else is other than me. So what is other than me is enormous. And what I am is so insignificant, no matter how privileged I could be. Okay? So with this vision, you have lived life. Okay? And as a result, and also you try to get things your way, but many times things may not happen your way. So you also have told some stories to yourself to reconcile why things did not happen your way. Okay, so that means all this information that you have, right, which is part of your psyche, is something which is there for many years. So all of a sudden you can't just erase it and replace it with this vision that I'm limitless. It's impossible.
But the whole idea was for us to come to the point that we're limitless. And why are we given the limited body at all?
So that's
why this dichotomy?
This is the design. It is like you asking that if actually the earth is a globe, okay, so why are we given the perception that the earth is flat? This is how things are. But within that we are also given the capacity to figure it out. So we figure it out. Okay, now at the cellular level everything is changing constantly. Okay, but you are given the perception of stability, but you can figure it out. The whole world is like that. So many things. You're given the perception that the sun rises in the eastern sky and it sets in the western sky. Okay, but the reality is the sun is stationary and the earth is revolving. Okay, you can figure it out. So if you go by your first perception, it gives a given vision. It gives a certain understanding which is based on your perception. It's not totally wrong because there is a perception which is a universal perception. Okay, but you need to inquire into realities a lot more to figure out what is, and then reconcile, and then you have to say, but if the sun is stationary, why do not only I, but everybody else has a perception of sun rising in the eastern sky? So you need to explain that. Okay, so similarly, there are so many things which are so many realities which are counterintuitive. Okay, but you have the buddhi to figure out. This is how the world is. Okay, so therefore, all the things that we have it's part of our own belief system, which is become our personality, is something which is what acquired through many years of living, and if you take Vedic model, then through what lifetimes. Okay, so that's not going to go away immediately. So that's why Upanishads talk about need to take care of that. Otherwise what happens is, on one hand you have this information and you think that you understand. If you have a good logic, you understand all the logic that Upanishads are giving to make you see that awareness has no limit. But on the other hand, when you begin to live your life, your habitual way of looking at things, which is some amount of insecurity, some amount of a self-blame, feeling of a victim, all these things take over in your decision making. Okay, so therefore there is this whole need that Upanishads talk about for self-growth, because unless you free yourself from this programmed thing, you will not live with the freedom that Upanishads are talking about. Okay, so therefore a lot of time was spent on how to prepare yourself. We talked a lot about some of you may have been there, some of you may not have been there, but we talked a lot about how to deal with emotions, how to deal with how do I make the decisions, what do I take into consideration when I have to make decisions, dharma, the relativity of dharma, the swadharma, all that was talked about. That's a whole big infrastructure which was given for you to take care of the past baggage, okay, and to live life with a new vision. Okay, now the third question, which is very important in studying Vedanta Shastra, and that is, how did this whole mithya world come about? Okay, there is a very a deep discussion about the cause of the universe. So the next few verses are talking about the cause of the universe. Okay, so we will see that today. Where are my glasses? Oh, here. Okay. So, it goes, Yadidan kincha Jagat sarvam prana ejati nisrutam mahadbhayam vrajam udhyatam ya etad viduhu amrutaha te bhavanti hamsaha shuchisat vasuranta antariksha dhyota vedavishat atithir duronasat nrushat varasat adbyoho abja goja rutaja adrija rutam bruhat. Okay, now what is, okay, I am on page, now what is this page? I'm on the, wait, third last page. Third last page, and not the last verse but the two before that.
The entire universe?
This entire universe. Yes, exactly. Yeah, green tea. Yes.
Is there a literal translation?
See, literal translation, Summer doesn't. Yes.
To hear it.
Yeah, you just want to hear it?
Just
Okay. So I will, because literal translation you will hear, but it will not make any sense, and that's why the whole.
Make any sense either way.
That's true. Okay, so I'll talk about the literal translation, and then I will explain what it means.
Somehow you can ask someone.
See, there are a lot of this figurative expression, so that then I will explain to you. Okay, so the literal meaning is
Coffee, eh?
nakul na nakul.
No,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm separate.
So it says, this entire universe, the world, whatever it consists of, emerges and moves about because of Brahman. It is a great terror, I mean this is a figurative, with upraised thunderbolt. Those who know this become immortal. Okay? Then the infinite reality dwells in the heaven as the sun, in the interspace as the wind, in the earth as the fire, dwells in people, in gods, in sacrifices, dwells in space, it is born in waters, it's born in sacrificial accessories, originates from the mountains. Okay, so now this is the whole thing about the discussion on the cause of the universe. Very often Nakul asks this question that yes, I'm limitless. Okay, how does it help me to make a decision? I have to decide whether I buy a company or I don't buy a company. Okay, or should I get married to this person or should I not? Should I have this lady as my girlfriend or not? You have so many questions in life, right? So now how does this knowledge that all that is here is one and everything else depends upon that one for its existence, how does it help you in that decision making? So one has to be very clear, it doesn't. Okay, in this particular aspect of the teaching does not really help you. It doesn't give you clarity about what should I do right now or what I should not. If you try to connect, what happens is that many times people try to connect. Oh, everything is one, so therefore, so they come up with their own logic, which is actually a faulty logic. Okay, so therefore, for this part of decision making, you have another a part of this teaching which helps. Okay, and that part of teaching is up to now we have seen that the world is mithya. Mithya means it has a dependent reality. Okay, now it goes a little bit more into how mithya world is organized. Mithya world is not just atoms and particles just running around randomly. It is a highly sophisticated world in which you find so many things are so well put together. Okay, so when they are so well put together, as I said, that even though we all have a perception of sun rising in eastern sky from everywhere, right, and still the fact is that the sun is stationary. And sun was stationary how long ago? Billions of years ago. Okay, and it is also going to be stationary for next billions of years ago, and the whole galaxy is moving, but the distance between the earth and the sun remains constant. You try to make two things moving at a very fast rate and keep the distance exact. You'll see how difficult it is to do that. Okay? So therefore, this mithya world is not just, you can't dismiss it as, oh, mithya, it is unimportant, because all your decisions have to be made in mithya world. So therefore, you need to understand mithya world more accurately. You can't just bypass mithya world. Okay? So therefore, there is this whole discussion on the cause of the universe. First, you need to understand that this mithya world is extremely well organized. Okay? The physical body that you have belongs to mithya world. It's nothing but cells. Okay? But each cell is so well placed that the cell in kidney will do a very specific job and a cell in liver will do a different job. Okay? And they are all coordinated, right? And then whatever happens, then there are something which is what we call stem cells. Okay? The whole therapy of stem cell is, there are some cells in the body. Okay? So the whole therapy is that those cells which are available to us, let's say if our kidney cells are not working, okay, what they do is physically take out those cells and implant them in the kidney, hoping that these cells are so intelligent that when they are placed differently, they will begin to act as kidney cells and start doing the job that is to be done by kidney cells. So the whole science is all based on understanding this human body, which is highly complex. Okay? Everything is cells, but the cells are not just randomly floating around, they are extremely well organized. Okay? So when you look at the sun and the earth, when you look at my own physical body, the eyes, okay, how eyes are put together. You ask the best doctor in the world to put together one eye. Okay? So this is where it is something which is already come put together. We have not sat and we've said, okay, now Hassan says, okay, now I want this eye, and I say I need this eye, and we put together. It's already arranged, and we already come with it. Okay? And the eyes have the capacity not only to see the forms, but the eyes also send signals to the brain, and the brain is able to, when you see a tree, okay, the physical tree does not enter your brain. Okay? How do you know the tree? How do you even perceive the tree? This is where in Vedanta Shastra we say there is something called vritti gnanam. Vritti gnanam means your eyes capture the form and they send the signals to the brain. The brain creates a thought form in form of a tree. And what you recognize is that thought form, and then you say, oh, that's tree. So next thing, if you want to know a cow, then what? Your thought of tree goes away, then again your eyes see a cow and sends the signal through your brain, through the eyes to the brain, and the brain creates a thought called a cow thought. This is how you basically know the whole world. Okay? The whole thing is arranged. Not only the eyes do their job, they are connected with the brain and different parts of the brain. If you map the human brain, there was a psychiatrist who came to our retreat, and what he was saying was something which is interesting. I'm going to talk about it slightly, okay, before we go into the cause of the universe. It says that all this understanding that takes place in the brain, there are three main centers in the brain. One is what we call instinct, the brain which is just acting on instinct. You see a danger and then what? You decide to flee or you decide to fight. So that means there is an instinct. Okay? Something triggers sadness, it is almost an instinct. Something triggers anger, instinct. Right? So this is what we call one part of the brain which is essentially like every other animal in this world. Okay? So they all have instincts. Okay? So therefore, this is the brain which is instinctual brain. The other part of the brain is what he said is cortex. Because a human being is not just working on instincts but also is able to understand the world. Sitting here, I can think about how old is the universe, and I can almost estimate, what is the age of the universe, how many billions years the world has. Okay, I can think about so many. I mean, Einstein sits and thinks whether the time and space is absolute or relative. This brain is something which is incredible. An artist looks into things and comes up with art forms which are like so extremely creative. An architect looks at the same four walls and you can just design it so differently. Every home is different. Okay? So that means any learning that takes place where it is more than just instincts, okay, it is what we call, there is a center, the physical center in the brain is different from the place where instincts take place. The cortex is given a different location. Okay. Then what he said is that there is a third part of the brain which is what we call neocortex. Neocortex is generally every knowledge that we have is like knowing more and more about a given thing. If you're a scientist, you want to know more about science. If you're an artist, you want to have more creativity introduced to your art. If you're a painter, so that is somehow, this is how people develop their cortex. Okay? But there is another part of the brain which then has to make sense of the world. There are some people who ask this question, but why am I here? Some very basic fundamental question, okay, which are not addressed at these two levels, or become a highly compassionate person. Rise above, I saw this Saturday at Prithvi Theatre, there is a very nice play about Mahatma. Okay, Mahatma is Gandhi, and the whole thing is how he was as a human being before he became Mahatma. So his early years and all his struggles. And what the theatre, what that play was saying is he was just like one of us. Okay? He had lots of shortcomings, he had lots of things, but something that what happened is how he decided to respond to situations in his life, how he decided to understand, this whole, everything that was happening to him with regard to a larger purpose. That is what we call the neocortex part of the brain. Okay? Where you rise above your normal little, rational way of looking at things, and you discover larger purpose. Okay? And you become compassionate, you become giving, you become a contributor. These are very, there are people who are extremely noble people. There are people who are successful, and there are people who are what we call noble, wise. Okay? So that part of the brain is what we call neocortex. Okay? So therefore, there is a different center for it. And what he said is all these things that we study, philosophy or whatever, that develops our neocortex centers. So therefore, generally for people, it is the instinct and the cortex brain which is active, and here it is, they all have, but it's not well developed. But when you actively engage in a study like this, which makes you think about things far more fundamentally than what we are used to, it develops those centers. So it's actually able to physicalize and say which part of the brain this kind of a teaching addresses. And once you have that part which is developed, the whole infrastructure with which you assess the situation is different, because before you have only two centers available, now you have a third center which is available. So you begin to see, it's not that you're externally able to change the situation, but how you respond to situation changes because the way you assess the situation changes. Okay, so that means you have come with this brain which is a highly sophisticated instrument. Okay. Partially it is programmed, but a lot of it depends upon your free will of how you use it. Okay. So therefore, all these intelligent design, all is existing within Mithya world. So you can't just dismiss Mithya world as something which is just unreal. Okay. Now the question is, who caused this?
Who caused this?
Yeah. Who made? Because I didn't make it, you didn't make it, but it is an intelligent design, so therefore there must be a maker. Okay. The logic goes as if, for example, I tell you that who made this watch? This watch, who made this watch? Someone. Excellent, right? Why is Nakul saying that someone made this watch? Why is he not saying that the maker of the watch is not present here, but he still infers that there is somebody who made it, right? Why doesn't he say that the steel just came as a natural process, right? And those little wires, that little chip, they all just came as a natural process, and they just kind of combined together and made this watch.
Atheists say that.
Sorry, atheists say that. Exactly. But what seems to be more likely is that whenever there is an intelligent design, okay, and when it is very intricately put together, okay, the possibility that there is a cause, because it's all preconceived, right? You have, before the watchmaker makes a watch, right, or the whole design of where each part is, if you change the position of all these parts, the watch will stop working. Not only you need different parts, but they need to be coordinated with each other, okay, so that it can run for a length of time. Okay, so therefore, here any intelligent creation where things are put together, if this simple watch is put together and you presuppose, very naturally he presupposes that there is someone, then this whole universe, which is, as I just explained, so amazingly put together, there must be a cause. Okay, it is likely that there is a cause, if you look at it like that. Okay, now the second question is, if there is a cause, then we cannot just stop at saying, oh, there must be a cause. We need to look into the nature of the cause. Okay, so what Vedic vision of that cause, in Sanskrit you call it Ishvara. Ishvara means the cause of the universe. Okay, what is the nature of the cause of the universe? What is nature of Ishvara? We don't stop at saying, oh, there must be a cause. Right? And because we don't, generally what happens is, because we don't see the cause, right? Somebody here, we can infer somebody, if it's a Swiss watch, somebody sitting in assembly line of a Swiss company made this watch, right? But in case of the whole universe, you don't see any given person who can claim that I have made the stars, I've made the sun, I've made the moon, I've made all the human beings, I've made the galaxies. So generally what happens is, we think that that person who has made the universe is away from here. So we assign that cause of the universe a given place, okay, called heaven, and we say, okay, God in heaven created the world. The Vedic vision is completely different. Okay. The Vedic vision of Ishvara is 360 degrees different from this conventional view of what the God is. So we need to understand what it is. Okay. So according to the Vedic vision, this universe is, the logic is the maker of the in Sanskrit you start with a simple thing like ghata. Ghata means a pot. The pot maker should have two things. Okay, what? Ghatak kartaha ghatagnaha. Okay, the person who makes the pot, before that person makes the pot, what? I must know the form, right? I must conceive the form in my mind, okay, and I also must have the power to create it, right? So ghatak karta ghatagnaha, the pot maker must have knowledge. If somebody comes and says, okay, now you decorate my place, before you decorate, you begin to do anything, right? You have a internal picture of, you visualize the whole thing. Then you begin to put every part together. Okay, so that means your knowledge is what they value, and that's why they recruit you, right? They hire you to do that. So that means if you make something, you must have what? Knowledge of what you make. Okay, and you must have also the power to make what you make. Okay, so now in case of the whole universe, if there is a cause of the universe, it must have what? All knowledge. Sarvasya karta sarvajnaha. Okay, all knowledge and all power. All knowledge and all power to manifest the whole universe. Okay, now how do you know that where is this knowledge? Okay, because when you look at the world, you see nothing but mountains, you see nothing but rivers, characters, human beings, animals, birds, aquatic creatures. Where is this all knowledge? Do you see this all knowledge?
Within the creation.
Excellent. Right? So what Vedanta says is, hey, relook at the creation. Okay? I have just told you that this creation is nothing but what? It has every object in this creation is nothing but what? Atoms and particles, ultimately. Even a physicist will say that. Okay? So what he says, but these are not just random atoms and particles, that intelligence, okay, which puts together the atoms and particles and arranges it in a way that sometimes it becomes mountain. Sometimes it becomes rivers. Sometimes it becomes trees. Sometimes it becomes human forms. Sometimes it becomes an animal. Sometimes it becomes a bird. That intelligence which is arranging the atoms and particles, is it away from the creation?
It's actually even within the creation.
Exactly. It is in and through the creation. So that is what we call Ishvara. Right now, billions of the cells of my body are coordinating in a way that I can talk to you, I can see you, my digestive system is working, my circulatory system is working, my everything is working, my respiratory system is working. Am I telling that now you go air, okay, you go from here to here to here to here? No. In fact, if you're asked how many parts are there in your body, you won't even be able to name all the parts that exist in your body. Okay, so that means that intelligence which is running the whole show, as Nawaz says, is not somebody away from the creation, it's right now doing his job.
So how weird is it that if the intelligence, if a certain God energy or power is within each one of us, that we're still so ignorant about ourselves at the same time?
Exactly. This is what we call this Maya. Excellent. Right? Right now, Ishvara is making the whole show run, and you're so ignorant about the presence of Ishvara. This is a magic. So that's why what Upanishads do is make you see that reality which is already there. It is not, see, the whole Upanishad does not work as something which is advising. Okay? It's not somebody who's telling you, oh, you should be a good human being, you should do this, you should do that. It is just making you see the reality. It is so ironic that it is exactly. So there are certain poems which are written in Hinduism where it says, I don't know if you've heard, you people are so brought up in kind of foreign culture that I don't know how many of you even listen to some Hindi, I don't know what. But there are some, I don't know if you've heard one thing called Darshana Do Ghanasham. So here he says that Mandira Mandira Murat Teri Fir bhi na dikhe Surat Teri. It's part of this whole culture, Vedic culture. You're in each and every one, and I still am totally ignorant of your presence. This is magic. And it is there.
Why then in Hinduism do we pray to an outward idol and not like just pray inward?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. I will come to it. First, let's understand what is Ishvara totally, and then I will answer that question. Perfect.
Well, I'm actually still, when I think about this, when you say intelligent design, there's this whole debate in the US. Intelligent design is just someone created everything versus evolution, which is things evolved over a period of time, including
Yes.
us. So I intellectually understand that you're saying Ishvara is in us, and that's what's created everything. It's not something outside, it's something inside. But somewhere I'm not making some connection here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not articulating my question. But
No, but what you are saying is absolutely right. See, basically, I will tell you now. First, let me explain, then I will tell you how Vedic vision differs from the modern scientific view, but how it adds a value where, because they don't introduce this, they are stuck somewhere. And how, if you introduce this, the whole thing makes sense. I will explain to you. Okay? So just to show that logically what we are saying does fill in a lot of gaps that they cannot fill in with their model. Okay? So, therefore, there is this intelligent design which is right now, right, making the whole thing work. And work in a way which is what? Extremely precise. Okay? So, therefore, that intelligence is in and through everything. Okay. So in the other way, if we look at Ishvara, what we say is the Vedic vision of Ishvara is another way of looking at it. Okay, that it is what we call Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. Don't worry about Sanskrit terminology, but it is important that you know that what I'm talking about is not just from my own head. I'm talking from the Upanishads. Okay. What it means is, for example, okay, this cup, when it is made, it has two different causes. There is what we call the maker, and then the second is the material. Yes? So that means there is somebody sitting somewhere, made the glass, the maker, the person, an intelligent being who kind of conceived this beautiful design and made the glass, but the glass is made from crystal, I suppose. So therefore, what is the material cause? The material cause is the crystal. Okay. Now, let's see in case of the whole universe. In case of the whole universe, you can say that there is this intelligence which somehow made the universe. Okay, and it is something which is, what is the material that it used to make this universe? The universe has what? Time, space, it has all these varied objects. So what is the material cause of the universe? In this case, two causes are different. The maker is different from the material, right? The person made this glass from the material which was different from him. Okay. In case of the whole universe, right, can you say that all intelligence made the universe using which material?
His own material?
Excellent. Right? Why? Very good. Your answer is right, but why?
Because it's no other material.
Excellent. Excellent. Right? Because if there is already another material, okay, then there is already creation. Then you can ask, who created that material, right, which this God used to make the universe? So as Nawaz and Samar say, actually, logically, if you look into the universe, if you look into this question of the cause of the universe, you have to say that in case of the whole creation, the maker and the material is one and the same. Okay, that is a huge discovery, because the maker, okay, can be away from the object, but can the material cause be away from the object? The material cause, which is the crystal, can it be away? So that means if Ishvara is the material cause of the creation, it should be where? Necessarily wherever creation is. It cannot be away from creation. So therefore, Ishvara being the maker and the material, it pervades the whole creation. Okay, so yes.
Isn't that why, I mean, many people actually, in the past, so hundreds of years ago, and still even worship the sun, trees, sand, water.
Excellent.
So talk about the idol stuff, effectively representations of all of that, or, sun god in Egypt, for example, like 5,000, 10,000 years ago before Christ and all. That's what they sort of put forms into that, because that's
excellent.
What they realized.
Paganism, basically.
Yeah, that too, but at the end of the day,
yeah, but unfortunately, as it stands today, people have lost the meaning of that.
You're right.
And they will not bow down to the sun.
You're right.
They will go in front of a temple and they'll be like, The problem is that it's okay. Either which way, it's fine. Everything is creation.
But that's that's why we are having this conversation here, and many people aren't.
I agree.
We sort of looking into that perspective, and some people are, and never be able to say.
Yeah.
The whole point of this is to get that.
No, absolutely. My question was actually in Hinduism.
Yeah.
There's a lot of idols, right?
Yeah, I will talk about it. I will talk about it. But what Koti is saying is absolutely right. The Vedic vision is that all that is here is Ishvara. Okay, so therefore now what a lot of this for us, the world itself is mithya. It's not real. Okay, so therefore it has a dependent reality. Anything that you look, now let us understand a little bit better what exactly we mean, and you will be actually quite surprised how the Vedic vision of Ishvara makes sense. Okay, so now I start with one thing which we call human body. Okay, now if I say human body, then you think that there is an object called human body? Yes? Yes? Okay. Now let's enter into a debate and find out the reality of human body. Okay. If I tell you that the head is not body, no. You have to say no, right? They are not synonyms. The arms are not the body. The legs are not the body. Kidney is not the body. Liver is not the body. Water is not the body. Blood is not the body. So now I'm taking out all of these. You show me where the body is. Body that you think is a real entity, actually, if you take out each part, show me an entity called body. There is no body. Body, still we all see a body. What is this body? It is nothing but what? Different parts put together. When things are put together, all of a sudden we give it a name called body. Okay. Then you said, okay, so now body is just a name. It constitutes of different parts. And one of these parts is hands. Let me look at the hand again, and I say hand is not the skin, hand is not the nail, hand is not the bones, hand is not the muscles, hand is not the water, hand is not the blood. Let me take it all out and show me where the hand is. Then what you have to accept is not only body is a name which constitutes different parts, that one part itself is what? So many other parts. that not only there is no such thing called body, there is no such thing called hand either. Okay. Then you said, okay, so now let me look at one part, which is, let's say, the bone. Bone is what? Calcium. So that means that bone itself is what? Not really there, it is mostly just calcium. Okay. The calcium itself is what? Mineral. The mineral itself is what? The earth. The earth itself is what? So many different components of it. It is mind-boggling. This is reality. It is all there until you inquire. All you find is forms within forms, within forms, within forms. And for every corresponding form, there is a name. Names and forms.
That's with everything.
So that is with everything. You look at the tree is exactly the same. You say there is a tree, I said trunk is not the tree, leaves are not the tree, flowers are not the tree, branches are not the tree. Let me take out everything, you show me where the tree is.
So most importantly, that relates to ourselves. Who are we is not there only.
Exactly. So that means absolutely. Very good. Right? So that means it's all just, when this body then is ultimately what? Some atoms and particles. And mostly space. It's incredible how much space there is between atoms and particles. Right? So right now, there is an intelligence which makes from what? These minerals, which is nothing, is coming from earth, this thing called bone. It sets the bone at the right place where if the bone was here, the hand will not move. It places the bone at the right place in conjunction with what? All the other muscles. Okay. And those muscles are also, by the way, nothing but atoms and particles. So there, with some atoms and particles become the muscle and they perform a very specific function. The other atoms and particles become what? The bones, and they perform their function. Then the atoms and particles become the water and it flows through the body. The atoms and particles become the blood, which what? Do their own function of what? Providing blood supply to the heart so that it can pump and it can keep the whole mechanism going. Right now, there is just nothing but design of this intelligence which is making each part and make that part work in conjunction with the other part so that that whole body can function.
The best visual of this was in the movie Nature. Based on Gita.
Which is based on Gita.
So I guess God gave us a clue when He made sure we were born Nanga.
We are
Okay,
still
you're born without a car and a this and a that. We are nothing.
we're just covering ourselves. At the end of the day, we are.
So that means right now it's like design within design within design within design right now. And everything, so a human being is now, what this verse is saying is nothing but what? Ishvara, all material cause means Ishvara pervades everywhere. Ishvara pervades the sun. Ishvara pervades the moon. Ishvara pervades far off stars that we don't even know. Okay, because the matter, if they are just kind of inert matter, there is this, even Indian philosophy, there is this Sankhya philosophy which talks about the world as nothing but matter. Okay, so then we ask this question: how, if the matter is inert, how does it join together? Okay, and how does it join together in such an intelligent fashion that it actually becomes what? One given thing which is rightly placed in the universe. They have no answer for that. Okay. So therefore, this is where now I want to go into this Ishvara analysis will take a longer time, but I now with this vision I want to answer Samar's question. Okay. So therefore, now what we saw is Ishvara is not only in terms of all the different forms, okay, the design, the intelligence which is making your neurons work, my neurons work, your cells work, his cells work, the cells of a bird, cells of an animal, everything work. Okay, but not only it is an intelligence which makes every entity in the universe, but it is also the intelligence which connects you to me. How are you and me connected?
We're made of the same matter.
Excellent. First of all, we are made up of the same matter, okay, and that is why, okay, and the same design. This is why you go to a doctor today, you have some disease. You go to a doctor today, okay, and the doctor sees you for the first time. Okay, but the doctor has studied human body, okay, and once the doctor has studied one human body, the doctor knows that what? Every human body follows the same design. So the very fact that he has studied, there is an order, what we call physiological order. Okay, therefore, by the time you tell doctor 5 sentences or 10 sentences about your disease, the doctor is able to infer what all you could have. That is from the base of knowledge of what? Past. Right? It is all the medical school knowledge that is acquired about human body. Is able to use that knowledge to cure you because your body follows the same pattern as every other body, human body. And
Actually,
all
Ayurveda says something different. Modern medicine says that one medicine will cure everybody.
That's true.
Ayurveda says that every individual
true.
is different. Right?
That's true. But at the same time, they also follow a framework. They all follow a framework. They say, okay, you are predominantly Vata, Pitta or Kapha. Right. So even that knowledge of a Vata person, how that person is, Pitta person, how that person is, then how to cure, all that, there's a whole system. Right? So they apply, it's not they begin the research with your body. The years of research which is gathered, they use in order to what? Apply it. They try to put, depending upon homeopathy or Ayurveda or modern medicine, what happens is you use that knowledge to apply to your body. That means that your body falls within the framework of the discipline that they have studied. Okay, so therefore you and me are connected through laws. Laws of what? This particular thing that I was talking about is what? Physiology. Laws of physiology. Nobody is away from the laws of physiology. Human body is not away from laws of physiology. Not only human body, but the bodies of every living being. What? The dog's eyes are programmed differently. This is why when the dogs see the world, they don't see exactly the same forms as us, because their eyes have a different programming. So many things that are here right now, I can't see because our eyes are not programmed to see them. There are so many viruses, there are bacteria all running around here, but it's not seen by me. None of us see it. Okay, so this is why they use dogs, because they have very sharp sense of smell. Okay, which we don't have. So that means that physiology is that a human body is going to have these parameters. Okay. Then within that there is uniqueness in each one of them. That is what we call intelligent design. Infinite, the same program but infinite permutations and combinations. Infinite. There are no two identical human bodies, even though the parameters are the same.
Maybe a different sort of off-topic question, but since everyone is different, dogs have a sense of smell and better than us, basically. So there's got to be a purpose, right, at the end of the day, because if human beings have been created all we are sort of a mix of matter intelligently formed by let's say so-called Ishwar in that sense, and dogs and lion or whatever animals, birds. So there's got everyone's got to have their role to play. And
yes.
For it. So when is that sort of going to be covered as part of it? What is the objective of human beings and
Yeah. So in fact,
in the world, like what are we supposed to do? I mean, are we?
Yeah. So this is exactly the whole main purpose, according to the Veda, is that to know this reality. Because what the reality is and what the reality that I make of what the world is are two totally different things. The real reality is all that is here is one intelligence which is manifesting in so many different names and forms. Okay? And how do I live my life? Completely ignorant about this fact. Okay? Then Upanishads also ask one final question, which is we have not seen yet, because I need to take you through series of different logic before I answer that question, and that is that now what we had initially discovered through the Upanishad is you are not the body, you are not the mind, but you are the awareness. So you also then need to ask one more question, that what is the relationship of I, the awareness, with that cause of the universe, which is Ishvara, which is pervading everything. These are all the questions that you need to answer to have clarity about what is the nature of universe. Because what happens is you live in a world which is so different from what actually is. So the human purpose is to figure this out. Because you are given the possibility, you are given a given perception which leads to a given conclusion, but you are also given the ability to undo all this ignorance and to know the reality. So human life is envisaged as, the purpose of human life is envisaged as having moksha. Moksha means knowing the reality. In that knowledge of reality there is freedom. Otherwise you are bound. You are bound as one little individual who keeps on taking different births and keeps on experiencing the world as one little entity within the universe, and keeps on missing the point that all that is here is one. So that is seen as the vision. Even Buddhists say the same thing. They say nirvana. I went for a wedding. I think I don't know. Some of you were not there, but. They had called this Rinpoche, and they were asking him, so what is the vision, Buddhist vision of marriage? And he said something very nice, which is very much in sync with what we say, right? He says, human purpose is not bondage. Okay? So therefore, human purpose is what he said, nirvana. Nirvana is freedom. So you have come together, very interesting, right? So you have come together.
Human purpose is not bondage. When you asked about marriage, that's
exactly. So he said very interesting. He said, marriage is not meant for bondage. Marriage is meant for freedom, making each one discover their freedom. That is the purpose of marriage. So therefore, the very relationship is going to take different dimensions, because you are not controlling somebody, you are not asking that person to be the way you are are just letting the person grow, and for self-enhancement and self-discovery. It becomes a very healthy relationship.
If everything is so intelligent and so conceived and preconceived, why would there be such a design default that the maker would make us so completely lost and confused that the lifetime we have no clue what we're doing?
So this is the fun part, right?
These
Because
are fun, right?
we are also having fun in the process.
We are having fun.
Because you think you are having fun, you pursue only things which you think will give you happiness, right?
Laughing at my own
So
expense.
exactly. So, but there is only one entity. There are no two entities. So then it is, So therefore, now it is not only the forms; it are also the laws. It is also the laws which, connect every human being. Okay, that is what are the laws? Physiological laws. What are the other laws that connect us? We are connected to the plant kingdom. How?
We eat them.
Exactly, we eat them. Right? They provide, you go and see a nutritionist and they will give you all the different things that you need in order for your body to be healthy. All that is prepared where? In a universe, the kitchen of the universe, constantly. The plants which are sitting quietly there, they take the energy from the sun through the process called photosynthesis. You remember your primary level biology?
We also connect through them, they're soothing, we want them around us.
Exactly.
Exactly.
They take away the carbon dioxide and they give out oxygen. They do all these things, right? So we are connected. Ishvara is not only in each form, making the design of that form what it is. Ishvara is also the laws which connect different forms. Laws of physiology, laws of biology, laws of physics. Can you decide how, that once you drop an object, where it should go? You have to work within laws of gravity. Gravity is not made by you. So we are also connected through physical laws. You can't bypass. If you want to live an intelligent life, if you want to do a space travel, a scientist, they've designed, NASA scientist wants to do a space travel. Does he create the outside atmosphere? What is there? He has to operate within it. He needs to understand how much oxygen is there. Then he has to give you the cylinder which is enough for you to survive for I don't know how many days. He has to work within the laws. Cannot just bypass the laws. Intelligent living is understanding how the universe is organized, okay, and navigating your life, incorporating the presence of all the different laws that are existing, which are connecting you and me. Okay, so therefore, in addition to physical laws, Ishvara is not only this form, physical laws, biological laws, physiological laws, okay, laws of psychology, also Ishvara. Okay, if I behave with one given individual in this way, this is how that person is going to feel. That's why similarly you go and see a psychologist and you are telling your story. Within half an hour the psychologist knows exactly, he can infer pretty accurately what kind of childhood you have had. Why? Because if you are feeling like this today, right, there are causes. It cannot be free from causes. And that's why Ishvara also exists as psychological laws. This is one of the manifestation of that intelligence. Laws of physics, laws of biology, laws of physiology, laws of psychology. The whole thing is intelligence. Intelligence seen from a given standpoint. Intelligence seen from how a human body is made is what we call physiology. Intelligence seen from how the whole universe is organized we call laws of physics. The intelligence seen through the plant kingdom and how it works, we call it biology. Intelligence seen from how human beings feel when they go through certain circumstances is what we call laws of psychology. In addition to these laws, there are two other critical laws which are also manifestation of Ishvara, the intelligence. That is laws of dharma and laws of karma. Laws of dharma is what Nawaz is saying. It's incredible that all that is here is this Ishvara, and still I can be what? A very brutal criminal. How is it possible? There is what we call laws of dharma. Laws of dharma means your whole psyche is given certain understanding of what is right and what is wrong. Law, the presence of law of dharma is something which is known to you, not because, according to the Vedic vision, not because the scriptures talk about it, not because that your teachers are telling you, not because your parents are teaching you, it's because you sense it. Every human brain, the intelligent design is such that every human brain comes with an intuitive understanding of what is right and what is wrong. This is also part of intelligent design. But you're also given free will, right, not to follow what you know. So, a criminal shows that if you're not clear about realities, how far you can abuse your free will. But the minute you abuse your free will, the laws of karma also work. There are consequences. Okay? So therefore, if you have to live your life intelligently, you need to understand Mithya world. Mithya world is not a random world. Mithya world is something which is pervaded by Ishvara. The whole intelligent design all the way. Any form exhibits the intelligent designs. The laws which connect you and me show the intelligent design. That intelligent design is all that there is. This is why in Vedic vision you can now pray to a given form, let's say the sun. Nobody is praying to this hydrogen or helium atoms, not at all. Right? Who are they praying to? That intelligence which makes the sun what it is. Staying right there, it what? Gives me the food to eat. It gives me the warmth so that I can survive. It is the one which brings about what rains by evaporating.
The form of the sun in the temple and not the
Sorry?
sun itself. Why do
Yeah, so then we also pray. I live on the beach. Every morning I see so many people just praying to the
I
sun.
pray to the sun every morning.
Lovely.
Yeah. I'm saying, why do people...
Now, 1 minute, right? So every form, you can pray to the tree. You will see lots of, you'll see lots of threads tied to the tree. People do that. You go to Rishikesh, you will see every evening all these ladies.
You know, I'm with you. I'm not arguing. I'm just
Right?
asking you a simple
What
thing.
I'm saying.
Why is there so much focus on temples in
No, wait.
Hinduism if
Yeah.
this is where we come from?
This is where we come from now. Let me first talk about the Vedic prayers were all with reference to elements.
Sure.
Okay. Now, what you also then need to see is another thing. Okay. Ishvara is not only the forms; it is also the laws. Understand? Okay. Laws, as I said. Right. Now there are. In addition to this physical and biology and physiology and psychology and laws of dharma, there are other laws which are operating in this world. Okay? Everybody, for example, wants to be wealthy. Okay? It's a very natural human desire to do well in life. Okay? So now, but there are laws which govern how much wealth you will have, in what form, in what stage of your life.
You mean spiritual laws?
No, just as there are laws of cause and effect, there are laws which also determine how much wealth you are going to have. Okay, so those laws which govern how much wealth you have is given a name so that you can relate to it. What is the name? Lakshmi. Okay, everybody wants to be intelligent, but how much intelligence who has, in what degree, right?
So
and in which,
if you pray to Lakshmi, you will get more.
so that means now every time I say, then you first understand, then I will ask one step, because otherwise, yeah, yeah. So therefore, now how prayers work is another topic. I will talk about it next time, because it's very important to understand how prayers work. So that requires, let's first understand the Vedic vision, and how we do all these prayers is not against the vision. It is within that vision.
I have one question.
Okay.
Wealth is man-made, right? Money is man-made. If you're talking about abundance, it can be in any form. It doesn't have to be money.
Yeah.
You
So
can have abundance without having money.
excellent. So therefore, even our Lakshmi is divided into Ashtalakshmi. They understand that. Okay, so they say Dhanya Lakshmi, Dhanya Lakshmi, Griha Lakshmi. You have a good home, that is also a wealth. You have good values, that is also a wealth, right? So you propitiate, you break it down so that you live intelligently. You understand, otherwise you can say Ishvara is everywhere, so now how do I relate to this Ishvara? But if you break it down and you understand that Ishvara manifests as intelligence which governs all these different aspects of my life, then you have a proper relationship with that Ishvara. You evoke the part that is necessary at that given point in time. And you understand the multifacetedness of this whole laws which govern you and your life. So you have intelligence, and then you everybody has a different type of intelligence and different degree of that type of intelligence. So there are laws which govern that, just like everything else is governed by laws. There are laws, and those laws, to concretize, what do we say? It is Saraswati. You make it concrete, so you bring it into your understanding. Okay. Then there are laws which decide what obstacle is going to come your way, in what form, and then there is a law that you then propitiate to overcome the obstacles, and that is what? Ganesha.
Aside from karma. That's
Exactly.
another law.
So it's the obstacles that come, which is somehow in keeping with your karma, right? But you can use your free will to get, or at least reduce the impact,
What is
right?
the law
So,
of God associated
so that
with
is Ganesh.
That is
Ganesha.
But so,
It's all symbols.
So it's all exactly. It is making you
I get your
understand.
point. I get your point that there's symbols for all these laws, right?
Yes.
I understand that. The point is that the focus is so much on the symbol and not the actual law.
That is because people don't understand. This is why, as Koti says, you come here to understand.
Right.
Religion is largely people who are able to understand the deeper meaning has become sure.
No, but my question was that if Upanishads talk about this and this is the basis of Hinduism, I mean, how did it from here go to that? And sort of
See, I think unfortunately what happens is so many things. Upanishad is an intricate teaching. It's not. It's a sophisticated teaching. Okay, it's not something which you really need to be. It's like doing PhD in physics, or for example, that level of intricacy. Okay? Not everybody is ready for that. See, every higher learning, a physicist will say, my God, this is so brilliant. How come people are not interested? People are not interested because people are so busy doing whatever they think makes sense in their life.
Sorry, so just to go back, when you're invoking Ganesh, for example, you're inviting obstacles.
No, you're asking the one who is in charge of the obstacles to remove the obstacles. So that means
decide which ones you will have and how you will overcome them.
exactly. So that's why then prayer, no, you're not. You're
That has a lot to do with karma.
exactly. It is, so you have to work in line with your karma. But all that, why, how prayer works, I will talk. I will talk how do you use your understanding of all that is here is intelligence to help yourself is prayer. That I will talk about it. But right now, what we have seen is there is this whole Vedic vision of Ishvara. Okay, Ishvara is all pervading. Okay, it is something which is arranging every form to be what it is, and it is also various laws which connect different forms. So all that is here is this one intelligence. Sarvajnaha Sarvashaktiman Ishvara. Okay, Sarvajnaha means all knowledge and which has all power to arrange the universe and constantly what? Shift the universe, not randomly but through laws. Okay, so next time we will see a little bit more about how Nakul's question, how this vision is different from a normal scientific vision, okay, and what this vision brings, which somehow provides certain data to scientific vision, where then it makes what they see, which is incomplete, now complete. I will talk about it. Okay, and then we will see how to use the understanding of Ishvara to help yourself, right, through prayers. All this we will see next time. Yes. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.